guys, welcome back to the Upside Down Art Studio. Today we're going to look at the artist Alma Thomas, and we're going to be talking about her abstract paintings, and we're going to create an abstract work of art using cut paper. So you can use construction paper, any kind of paper that you have, even anything that's going to get recycled, and you're going to want lots of different colors. Alright, so get your stuff and let's get started. Okay, so today we're looking at the artist Alma Thomas. She was an American painter, born 1891, died 1978, and we're going to take a look at some of her art that's going to inspire us for our project today. And I'm just going to go through these slides. My students, you have these, or you're going to read these on your own or with me in class. But she was an art teacher, and one of the things that really stands out with me is that she worked for 35 years as an art teacher to support herself, making art part-time, and then when she was done teaching, she could devote herself to her artwork, and at the age of 75, she had her first exhibit of her artwork at Howard University, and I just thought that was amazing because at the time, you know, it was hard for women to get their artwork shown, it was hard for African Americans to get their artwork shown, and she was also older than most artists, and she overcame all those obstacles that some people would have said, you know what, never mind, I'm just going to give up, it's too hard. And she was determined, and she has had her paintings on display in the White House for 3 different times. So that is just amazing to me, such a success story. She's such an inspiration. This is one of her paintings, and she could paint very realistically, but her instructors tried to get her to try something new and try some abstract paintings. An abstract art is when you take something and you draw it a little different than the way you see it. You break it down into more simple shapes, and children have been drawing abstract their whole lives. That's what we do. We look at something and we break it down into shapes, and we break it down into lines and colors and forms, all the elements of art, and we draw a picture of it, not exactly how we see it, but like a symbol or a representation of what we see. Sometimes it's how we feel about what we're drawing. And so it's very creative. Some people like realistic artwork, some people like abstract art. They're both very valuable. Being an abstract artist takes some creativity because you're not just copying what you see, but you are coming up with the lines and the shapes that you want to use. So this is one of her landscape paintings, and you can see it kind of looks like a mountain. Kind of looks like maybe it was a bridge. Don't know, not sure, and that's okay. We're looking at the colors, we're looking at the patterns, and we're looking at the textures because it's not flat and solid and smooth. It's got all these nice, what it's called divided brush stroke. So instead of just coloring it solid and smooth, she dashed up or broke up the brush stroke. So it's called divided brush stroke, like dashed lines. Almost looks like bricks being stacked. And some of her artwork's been compared to mosaics too, where they take little tiles and they glue them all together. And so some of her artwork is more abstract here, where you just see them in lines. And some of them are more abstract where you see, it could be maybe she was showing a flower, the rings on a flower, the rings on a tree, the rings around the sun. So I have a link here for her video if you want to watch this. For those of you that are in my class. If you're not in my class, I'll put the link below in the comments, but you can, you know, watch a video of her on your own as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pick our favorite landscape, and we're going to do a drawing of it. So get your paper and your pencils, and let's get started. Alright, so I want you to pick your favorite landscape, and a landscape is just that, it's the land. So a landscape could be the beach, a picture of the beach, it could be a picture of the mountains like we saw the one that Alma Thomas did. You could do the forest, you could do a river, the desert. I want you to think about your favorite landscape, and we're going to draw it super simple. Okay, because we're gonna not be coloring this in or painting it in. We're gonna be doing it abstract, and we're gonna actually use cut paper to fill it in. So it's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna look like Alma Thomas's work, that's our inspiration, but we're gonna do it a different way. So I'm gonna keep everything super simple and not a lot of details. So my favorite landscape is definitely the beach. And the first thing you're going to do, no matter what you choose, is you're going to draw your horizon line. And horizon line is just where the sky meets the land. So this is where the sun would rise up in the morning, and this is where the sun would set in the evening. And then I'm going to draw just a few really simple details, okay? And so for mine, I'm going to draw a line coming back for the shore. And so this is going to be where the water meets the land of the beach. So this is going to be sand over here, this is going to be water over here, this is going to be sky over there. See how simple that is? I'm not drawing a bunch of lines here to show waves. I'm not drawing any textures here. All my texture is going to be when I add my paper. So it's just super, super simple, okay? All right, so now I'm going to get my paper. Okay, so I've got some construction paper here in different colors. I've got some blues and greens for my water and some tans and brown for my sand. And then I've got some colors that I want to put in my sky and in my sunset. And you can use construction paper, like I said, anything that was going to get recycled. Junk mail always is a good source, magazines, but any kind of paper that you have, even wrapping paper. And we're going to cut these. You could tear them, but I want to try to keep them a little more consistent. So I'm going to cut these into strips first. And my strips are about as wide as a pencil. So if I put my pencil here, I'm cutting my strips about as wide as my pencil. All right, and once I've got those all cut, I'm going to take them and stack them. And I'm going to cut maybe a few at a time, like maybe 4 or 5. And now I'm going to cut those into pieces about like that. So these are going to be my little pieces that I'm going to glue down. Okay, so I have my paper cut and I've got little piles here ready to go for my water and for my sand, and I'm going to start gluing these down, and I want to keep them in a pattern. I want to create repetition and a flow and some movement through the way I'm laying them down, so it directs my eyes in a certain way. And so I'm not going to just kind of willy-nilly this. I'm really going to put them very methodically down here in a row. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Okay, so I am done. This takes a little bit of time, but it's actually pretty relaxing. You kind of get in this flow, you get in this rhythm, and that's the whole point of this type of art, is to create this pattern and to create this flow and rhythm through your picture. So I've got my water here, and I've got my sand here, and the sky, and then I have a little bit of the sun, and I ended up popping a few of those just to make it look like it was reflecting a little bit. But when you stack these, you're stacking them you know, in rows, and I'm staggering them, so like there's 2 and then 1 in the middle, 2 and 1 in the middle, 2 and 1 in the middle. So sometimes I had to cut some little ones to fit in. That's fine. And you know, the way that we're doing it, this is called a mosaic, where you're cutting out these little pieces and putting them together. And tile is done the same way. Little tile is put together. It almost looks like we stacked little bricks. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson inspired by Alma Thomas and abstract art, and I will see you next time on the Upside Down Art Studio. I can't wait to see yours. Bye guys.